We got a couple things going on right now. So, yes, indeed, another beautiful night on this beautiful planet, on this, this third dimension, on this Milky Way, this galaxy. You know what I mean? These beautiful avatars we have. Come on in. Like I said, it's gonna be a wonderful night. If you haven't already, please follow, like, and share.
Right.
Both of us here. The good sister. Let's see.
I say to the
She said I
guys.
have an echo. Somebody says I have an echo. So let me see if I can.
Zoe, okay. I went down all the way on mine. Do I need
Yeah,
to?
I went down too. So
Okay.
we'll see. It might be a slight echo. I'm not sure, but
Let me see. I know we're streaming multiple platforms trying to get the
yeah,
people
we're
what
trying to.
they want.
Okay. So if you have, of course, if you haven't seen me here, come to my channel before, Polka Dot Rabbit Podcast. We are here. First off, my name is Musosa Oncat, aka Yo Brozo, and Polka Dot Rabbit Podcast is we are here to uplift humanity with information, elevated information, and we also are here to help assist awaking the melanated zombies that have been asleep for quite some time. But I'm happy to say they have been starting to wake back up. You know, and with the good help of the good sisters we have on the line here. Now let's see here. Let me go ahead and let y'all know if y'all haven't already. Please go to polka.rabbitpodcast.com. Pick up the book, your bicultural living and leaving the world of illusions. If people, a lot of people always ask me why I have such a diverse topics, diverse stories about life. It's all in the book. It has all the information in the book, so that's all you need. Enough of me. Now we're gonna get to the goodness.
All right, is the echo better? I tried to turn my volumes down. Is that
Okay.
better?
Nobody said anything. So let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I think since you probably told it down because I can't even hear my echo, so I think we're good.
Okay.
But y'all can, if y'all hear anything, please let us know. We appreciate that. Um, that's it. And sister, please tell the people who you are, what you got, what you do, what you got going on, and oh, they say perfect. So thank you, Prince Bond. We appreciate that. All right, go ahead.
All right. So I am Rising Phoenix. I am just a melanated goddess. I do astrology, so I'm an astrologer. I also am a Reiki master, and I also do healing. I teach spiritual classes as well, and I also just work with the various gods and goddesses. I just always call it helping people awaken and re-remember. And what I try to do with astrology is help people do it in what I call bite sizes, right? So I don't like to talk about it where it's completely over people's heads, but I like for people to be able to relate it to everyday life and to be able to process it. And so that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go over a multitude of things because I know everybody sees so much going on from different trials, stuff going on globally, locally, personally. And I'm going to try to cohesively, as much as I can, bring that together and why, and kind of, do that.
Wonderful.
Somebody
Now,
said, repent and turn to the Lord. Honey, we are God.
yeah, that's yeah, we're well, I mean that's kind of an important thing to say. A lot of people that have done a lot of spiritual work, and honestly, spiritual work, a lot of us are way beyond dogma and dealing with, religion and certain things like that. We understand its purpose and etc. But, once you really get to a point and you really know what it is, then we moving on and talk about higher sciences like we doing tonight. So, if you can't handle that, you can go
You can
watch
gladly
TD
log
Jakes.
out. We here for, a
Yep,
higher
yep,
conversation and just giving you some
exactly.
love and positive energy and
Yep.
blessings to you, honey.
Yeah, indeed. So you can the Pastor Pork Chop and Deacon Do Wrong channel is on channel 7, I think. You can go there. No, but just playing with you. But anyway, here we go. Now this title kind of this title is really really what I'm happy you did that because it's like there's a lot of stuff underneath that umbrella. You know what I
So.
mean? But I kind of want to talk about like kind of specifics because I remember you talking about like Jupiter, being in Aries and like I think it's from like December 20th to 27th, no, the 20th on to May 2023.
Hmm.
Astrologically, what does that mean? Like, could you kind of break that down?
Yeah, so let me break down. All right, so literally as of today, I want to say Jupiter moved into Aries. So Jupiter is the planet of what they call expansion. And so it's expansion growth. And we know that that's not the original names, but I'm calling it what most people know. And so by moving to Aries, Aries is what you call the first sign, but it's also what they call a planet of self and war, as well as entrepreneurship and things like that. And so by moving to this sign, it's the where it's conjuncting, because also Aries is currently what we call in Chiron. So Chiron is the wounded healer. And so there's a lot of energy moving on, because Aries is normally naturally ruled by Mars, which is the planet of war. Gemini is in there right now. And for entrepreneurialistics, it is the time of growth. We know that a lot of people are tired of work. Like, it really kind of started a pandemic here in the Americas, so people just have mass left corporate America. It's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm over it. I mean, I get so many calls. I've gotten calls this week where people are like, I'm over corporate America. That's the energy. And people are ready to just be financially free from themselves and free from the systems. That's a Jupiter and Aries kind of energy, because Aries is about self. It's about me. It's about it's about what's best for me, not about the collective, but about how can I better serve me. In March of 2023, it's going to do what we call a conjunct with, where it's going to be Aries, Jupiter and Aries, Chiron, Venus. So Venus, what they call the love sign, as well as Mercury, which is the planet of communication. So it's going to be 4 different planets sitting in Aries, March of 2023. That's interesting, which I'm going to go into a little bit later, because that's going to be when the Saturn, Pisces, and Pluto, Aquarian energy shifts. So March 2023 is getting ready to be crump. It's going to be quite interesting. So I advise anybody who is looking at trying to switch your career energy, who in particular know that you've been assigned to not be working 9 to 5, not work corporate America. You know that you have your own specific assignment. This is the energy, in particular, over the next 5-6 months, that you should be able to move that energy under. And I'll explain why, because the Jupiter is going to be moving out of Taurus, which is really tearing down the money house. It's not by accident that they try to move the digital currency in this December under this energy, because they already know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So,
Mhm.
yeah, because they always have a plan for making moves, and
Mhm.
I got you. I got you. Okay. I mean, that's a nice breakdown. Now, okay. So can we kind of talk about the winter solstice and like the Capricorn moon? Like, how does that equate to all of this?
All right, so winter solstice. Winter solstice is December 21st, right?
Hmm.
So everything are open as in portals. And winter solstice is when they say allegedly winter comes, but we know that anyway, it's a lot of technology, but it's energies and spells. But their real true name is what you call Yule. So
Hmm.
Yule. They do a
Hmm.
lot of different spells and rituals during this time. So
Mm.
that's why even the whole Christmas, Christ Mass, the trees, the gift giving, all of that kind of stuff, it's heavily because those are all rituals. It's a reason that,
Mm.
like in the Catholic Church, they had all the different masses around
Hmm.
Christmas, because that's all on the winter solstice. This was not, they had been doing this way before that there was ever Christmas. And it's because you have certain planets and stars in line. If you even read the Bible with somebody saying, turn to the Lord, move here, that's because they knew about when there are certain planets, and that when this moon don't move and all the conjunctions, that they are trying to shift and move energy, because they're trying to shift and keep it to their goddess Ishtar and to their different, basically is dealing with Yakub. But anyway, until their spring equinox come, because their Yule basically means the death, when
Hmm.
something is not going to be moving forward anymore. And so they really are manifesting a lot of death and dead energy during that time
Hmm.
of December 21st, going through the 24th, technically, to rise again on 25th, because they say that's when the sun sits still and doesn't move. And so they
Hmm.
really try to harness really a lot of dark energy during that time.
Hmm.
And also simultaneously, then you have what they call their Capricornic new moon or whatever. So that's why, like with us, the solstice, we can, yes, pull energy, but that's not really us. That's when they do it. So that's why, like, I don't, yes, we can spend time with family, but I don't prescribe to it. That whole having the Christmas tree and bowing down and putting the gifts under, the whole holly, that's
Hmm.
part of their stuff. Like every single thing that had been given during Christmas was part of their various rituals.
Mm.
Those are all part, and so when we subscribe to it, it's in their rituals, because they've been trying to garner energy essentially.
Hmm.
And so for in their Wiccan or in their thing, that's very heavy in that. And so
Hmm.
that's a portal that's getting ready to be opened up, that is heavily used. And if anybody can go on IG, if you're on IG now when this live go off, go to any of their Wiccan pages. I can
Hmm.
guarantee you they have a lot of celebrations, lightings,
Mm.
things that they're going to be doing. And they all intertwine with their Roman Catholic Church, period.
So, like, I know, we know like different forces and energy forces. Like, you have like six ether, nine ether. So, is it like since they know it's like six ether death energies, they're trying to give that energies life? Is it kind of like that? That is it kind of like that aspect? Is that way to
Well,
look at
yeah,
it?
because you have to understand and understand that a lot of these holidays or holy days are very intertwined. So whether it's Easter when they did to their goddess Ishtar, which was really they called it a fertility ritual, but it was really a sex lust ritual. It's where they had orgies. I'm gonna just call it
Mm.
what it was. And were sleeping with one another, each other, and spouses and children, and all those different
Oh
things. So
Lord.
from their Yule to their Easter, their Ishtar, that's some of the. So right now they're in their death energy. When they come into the spring,
Mm.
they do it to their goddess, went to their Ishtar. So everyone, in particular, their
Ah.
portal. So you have winter solstices, two solstices, and two equinox. You have the
Okay.
winter solstice and the summer solstice,
Mm-hmm.
spring equinox and the fall equinox. So
Mm-hmm.
equinoxes is when they have different portals, and then they have their different solstices. And so they try to garner and move and do different energies, and they call them different deities. And in particular, this one and the winter one is a very Luciferian entity. Like
Yeah.
that is what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean that makes sense because if they know the sciences, they're gonna just like you were saying earlier, they're gonna use the sciences to to harness those energies, to use it to the benefit. So
I
that
mean,
that
if
makes
you look
perfect sense.
back, go back in your Bible
Mm-hmm.
and look like a lot of people know it's very allegorical and it's very like when they called the three wise men, why did they call them wise?
Mm-hmm.
Because they followed the stars. So
Yeah.
they tried to teach us what was demonic, but they followed it.
Yeah.
And why did they follow the stars? Because it was why and why. Okay, we know that typically, if this Jesus was born, he was technically was probably born in the springtime, not in the death of winter. So
Yeah.
why would they want to move this holiday? It didn't matter what else. Why is this holiday always December 25th? Because it's always got to be after this winter solstice. That
Mm-hmm.
is why, because they know that when they keep up with these different points in the stars, and that's why in there they call it about the wise men of when these three particular stars are aligned and when it has a perfect alignment and when that sun stands still. Even in,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the springtime, why is it that it doesn't matter what? Sometimes um, Easter is in March, sometimes April. Why? Because it has to be on the spring equinox. You
Mm-hmm.
have to follow astrology. That's why I love astrology. Is no respect of person. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where it is that you have to understand that it's wisdom. And they'll try to tell you this, but there's no presidents that make a move without looking at astrology.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett said it best. He says billionaires use astrology, not
Mm-hmm.
millionaires. There is no bills that don't pass without astrology.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing, even the various different religions, like the Roman Catholic Church and astrology, because when Constantine was merging from all the various religions, they had the pagans and Wiccans. And in order to merge the various churches, they had to merge. So that's why heavily there's a lot of Wiccan energy mixed in with Christianity. And so that's why you have to look at it. So when we subscribe to a lot of these holidays and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these celebratory things, you are literally participating in a ritual, whether you
Mm-hmm.
realize it or not. That's what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know from the research I've done or just the knowledge I have that, the Bible is a big time astrological book. You know what I mean? It's when people like when they talk about when they say in my with my father's house is many mansions, people think they talk about houses, but from what I was heard, they talk about the zodiac. And that's just a small
Yeah, that's
taste
the
of
12 disciples. Those were zodiac signs.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what people didn't recognize and
didn't
realize.
recognize, yeah,
Because
yeah,
everything is a code. That's why, like in the South, because my
hmm
family's Louisiana Creole, hoodoo girls, and we had to hide kind of our practices during
hmm
those times. That's how
hmm
they hid it. That's why people know that the book of Psalms and Proverbs was nothing but a book of spells.
spells,
Because
yep,
they knew that when they put that Bible was a contract. And so it
hmm
was a 400-year contract. That's all that
mm,
book was. That's why they
yeah,
said, if you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, you do this in remembrance of me. You were signing your soul
mm.
contract. So you
And that's
signed your soul over. And you continuously did that. So that
hmm
whole book was a contract, but we recognized it and we kind of hid different things in there because we knew, but we recognized it and we went over the various codes. Like
hmm
when I learned it, I went over every book, chapter, and verse. But if you don't know the codes, you can get caught up. And
hmm
the other thing is, the translation we have is not the original
Yeah.
translation. It's not the Greek, it's not the
Hmm.
Latin original word. So every time when things were moved over, all the words were moved over. That's why it's 15,
Exactly.
20 different versions. On top of every time you read the word God, they weren't always talking about the same God.
Same
We
God. Yep.
reading it and we thinking,
Hmm.
oh, well, it's God. Oh, it's Lord. Sometimes they
Yep.
will, that's why sometimes when they were talking about Lord, they was talking about Baal.
Yep.
Sometimes they were talking about Lord, yeah, they may be talking about their higher God. Sometimes when they was
Hmm.
talking about Lord, they were talking about
Hmm.
various different gods. But because
Yeah.
when we transferred it over and we had the monotheistic thought and process, we thought it was the
Exactly.
same person, but they weren't always talking about the one same person. And so if anybody you've ever talked about it who had an original copy
Yeah.
of that original written, and then on top of that, they took books out.
Yeah.
So you
Books
didn't
out.
have the original versions either.
I thought it was real interesting when I first started reading books by Dr. York by the little pamphlets, and he would break down the languages and he'd show you exactly how they look, and they'd break it all down. And I thought it was amazing to see that the difference between like the King James version as opposed to, what the original text said. Because if we don't do our research, we'll never know that, that exactly what you just explained about the different gods when they say Lord, Lord God, that they're talking about different gods. You know what I
But you
mean?
have to
So
understand that book is nothing but a watered down version of our stuff.
yeah,
Right. So
exactly.
what they did is they said, give me your stuff and I'm gonna give you a watered down version of your stuff back.
Yeah.
And make you a version of me and they tell you your stuff is demonic and evil.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because all
Flip
it
it on
was,
you.
which is why they
Turn
say
it on you.
Hungary is 33 degrees. When if
Hmm.
you listen, because matter of fact, somebody had passed on today, when you continue to go on through, they have actually 97 and 100. And Dr. York, of course, talks about the 720 degrees,
Hmm.
but they have a watered down version anyway.
Yeah.
So everything that they have was just watered down versions of
Hmm.
our original stuff,
Exactly.
period.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's a long
Yeah. No,
story.
you good. You
So
good.
winter solstice, but yeah.
No, no, no. That was a good breakdown. So, and this kind of goes on another question where you're kind of dealing with that because you always hear, oh, the Mercury retrograde, oh, the Mercury retrograde. So I know that what the Mercury retrograde is going to be December 29th all the way through January 17th, 2023. Could you kind of talk about what that is, the importance of it, the meaning and all of that, please?
Right. So we know, of course, and again, as a lot of people say, well, this isn't real astrology. That's not the original names. We know that's not the original planets of the name, but for retrospective purpose, I'm going to call it Mercury. Right.
Okay.
So, all right. So Mercury are the planet of communication. That's what it represents. The planet of communication, they say either quote unquote sits still or goes back. But let's talk about it from a planetary and then an esoteric standpoint. What that means is, first of all, it's going retrograde in Capricorn, or what they call the sign of Capricorn, which is the sign we're moving in. Capricorn is normally a hard aspect and hard sign. It is definitely in the current energy is if you look through, Capricorn represents also governments. So if you
Hmm.
already know, and it started this summer, all the various energies of the government, it also
Hmm.
represents your workplace. It also represents, it's a part of finances, but it's more the corporate governmental side of finances, not the personal side, but the corporate governmental.
Hmm.
So when you look at Mercury retrograde, everyone is always like, Mercury retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Everything goes crazy. Well, there's a couple things that I was explaining. What Mercury retrograde is sometimes one is slow down because we've been in number one a time spell, okay,
Hmm.
where they've had us going, 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 and not being focused. So sometimes it's slow your ass down. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, it's also things where spirit will bring things back around. So let's say you had a situation, a circumstance you didn't process, you didn't deal with,
Hmm.
something like that. Spirit will allow that circumstance to spin the block. That's what we'll call spin the block
Hmm.
and come back around because you have to deal with energy, with circumstances. That's part of
Hmm.
we in the school of Timbuktu, we in the school of life. You got
Hmm.
to process and deal with energies before you graduate, right?
Hmm.
Then you have the energy of also what you put out, you getting ready to get back. And Mercury
Yeah.
retrograde, in particular, in this energy, is very, very much like we are so much in the Anubis way in the heart of
Mm.
the scales. I can't even say it enough. Like there's not even an English bastardized word for this energy right now. And it's gonna be like that from this point through. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that spirit is giving me the download too. We are in a time does not exist energy.
Mhm.
And that Mercury retrograde is really seeing like those who's probably on that live of Chief Ross saying, like, what happened to my 4 hours? Like I lost 4 hours. we that time spell is up and gone, and that Mercury
Mm-hmm.
retrograde energy is really kicking it in. Like I know myself personally, simultaneously, I'm living in probably 5 different time energies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back in 2014 because we was in the Scorpio Taurus eclipses. I'm currently in their year of 2022. I'm already in 2023. I'm in 2030, and I've been in 2046. I've been like literally simultaneously in 5 different time energies because the illusion of time is not existing. And I mean, like, while I'm woke, I don't mean in the sleep frame.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at signs, everybody think it's a holistic thing. No, you also look at your sun sign, meaning when you were born, your moon sign, which is your feminine energy. Because even if you came here male or female, everybody has a masculine energy principle and a feminine. And then what we call your rising, so it's the way you are to present. And then you have to look at the Mercury part of your natal chart, which is the way you communicate or your communication house, right? So for Aries, if you're Aries, that's your 10th house. Your 10th house is your midheaven, your destiny world. For Aries, it's career. This whole 3-4 weeks, you have to focus on career, career, career. The entrepreneurialistic standpoint, but also it's probably a change of career. If people are in that sign of Aries, like if you're Aries or your 10th house is in Aries, or you have a strong Aries placement, they're looking for change of career. Taurus, this energy for Taurus is slowing down. So anybody who's probably under the sign of Taurus is really getting that energy of I gotta slow down. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
where the Taurus energy is at. Gemini normally has a really rough time with retrogrades in general because their ruling planet is Mercury. But it won't be as rough this transit, the way the spirit is speaking. The way spirit is speaking, because the way this is hitting it, because it's hitting Capricorn, is it's hitting Gemini with joint finances in their emotional house. So what, and plus Gemini got a lot going on because Mars, the planet of war, is in their house. So Gemini has been in a spiritual warfare energy and battle. So what I recommend in these 3-4 weeks for Gemini energies is uh, do your spiritual warfare energy, whatever that is. But most importantly, watch your money. Look at your joint finances. That's whether you married, if you share money, if you had your money in a 401k or something. It's something dealing with joint finances and dealing with them emotional body because you got that Mars and Gemini energy. Cancer is relationship, relationship, relationship. In particular, that 7th house, marriage energy. So anybody who has a Cancer sun, moon, or rising, or in Mercury house, if there was any issues in the relationship, it's gonna pop back up. This ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
be I can cover it up and run. Not gonna happen. If you had a relationship you went over and you didn't deal with it, and you tried to act like you was over it and either date or just you gonna process, you're gonna find yourself crying. And Cancer's already an emotional sign because it's Cancer. I mean, it's just
Mm-hmm.
Cancer. So Cancer energy is gonna have that. Leo rule the heart. Leo, which that's my sign and my energy, which it makes sense. Leo's gonna be all about fitness and energy. Leo is about, and you would think, well, it's Mercury. Why is it that? That's where it's hitting because it's hitting in their health house. If you are a Leo and you have not been taking care of your health, you're going to get hit. And our spirit is going to incline you because you have to understand, number one, in the astrology, Leo rules the heart. And the way that this is hitting is, listen, take care of your health. Check in. And the reason why is because, see, what this retrograde is doing is before you go into this next energy cycle is I'm slowing all y'all down in your retrospective energies because I want the best for you. And I need y'all to get it together. And this is the energies and areas where you need to get it together. Virgo, Virgo is, of course, normally the stable, cool, laid back energy. Well, Virgo may see, and it was interesting when I was looking at and kind of channeling about Virgo energy. Virgo may have some old people trying to come in and spend a block. Like if you got a Virgo house, if you get that old email or old text from an old person, and yeah, it normally can happen with Mercury retrograde, but Virgo in particular have that old ex that may come back. They are not your love. No, there's not no twin flame, no soulmate. No, do not go back. It's just a 3-4 week thing. Just ignore them. Do not go back. Libra is a different energy. Spirit is saying with Libra, heal thyself. And I can feel that so much because, see, again, which is why you got to know your natal chart. Although I'm a Leo, I got so much Libra energy in my chart. Libra, give, 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 give. Libra is always about everyone else and lack of self. But in this Mercury retrograde, Spirit is telling Libra, heal yourself. Take some
Mm-hmm.
time to yourself. Scorpio, focus on your communication. Don't pop off. Don't get angry. Not sure I'll get mad at me because I know Scorpios is a little bit different.
Woo!
But seriously, this Mercury retrograde for Scorpios is because the reason why is you may mean it's one particular way and it can be taken another way, right?
Mhm.
And in particular under retrogrades, and we already got a lot of war energy with that Mars Gemini, they can maybe take it in a negative light. And then three,
Mhm.
4 weeks from now, it can be a relationship ruined and you didn't mean it like that. So that's
Yeah.
what's going on. Sag, income, income, income. Look over all your books. Look over all your books. Sagittarius is always very good about money, multiple things, but they move quick and they sometimes typically may not look over the books as well. But Spirit is saying for this Mercury retrograde, watch your books, look over the books. I don't know what, but I heard watch the books.
Mhm.
And Capricorn, Spirit was saying like, because obviously it's in your sign, so you're probably going to be hit with it even more so. Capricorns, so it's just slowing down. You may have a little bit more communication issues than normal for Capricorn. Capricorn don't like a lot of drama. Capricorns really don't. And they may have a little bit more drama than they want and don't particularly want it. But it's all about learning. So learn what you're supposed to, get the lesson, and just know it's just in your house and it's going to pass. And then Aquarius is spirit cleaning. Spirit said for Aquarius, this is your spiritual elevation energy. So spend that time reading that books, doing whatever spirit work. But Aquarius energy, and it's probably because Pluto getting ready to move into y'all sign, and
Mm.
y'all gonna have a interesting transit. Woo! Y'all gonna have an interesting transit, Aquarius and Pisces. So Aquarius, I heard spirit, and Pisces was kind of really similar to Aquarius, and that's probably because Saturn getting ready to move into Pisces and Pluto getting ready to go in Aquarius. So I got them spirit messages for those two. So that's the Mercury retrograde energy.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit for some people because when you hear about astrology, there's the science involved too. Because we were talking about earlier about how and could you explain the importance of how everything you're talking about, how like the planets, how they affect us here on planet Earth? How does all these signs and everything work in as much as you can explain? How does it all work together that it makes such an influence on us?
Right. So you have to understand that planet Kai, Tiamat, Earth, Gaia, whatever name you give, this was a school planet, right? So we came here to learn. But there
Hmm.
are other various planets that exist. So we call it a natal chart, which your natal chart essentially is what we call your Akashic records
Hmm.
or book of life. So whenever somebody come to me, I'll automatically pull that. The
Hmm.
reason being is obviously this is not your first life. Like myself, I've been
Hmm.
here 9 times. It's my ninth and final. I will not be on Planet Kai ever again. I'm not never come back here. Period. But I have
I don't
my
blame you.
life. I know every one of my lives because I downloaded. Not only do I know my natal chart, but I have remembrance. When you're looking at your natal chart, the reason why you can have the same birthday, place, and time, and even twins, because I even have people that I work with that are twins and everything else, but they are so different. They can grow
Hmm.
in the same households, have the same birthday, but be so
Hmm.
different. It's because you have different life paths you lived. So
Hmm.
whether it's on various what we call planets, whether you live different energies, whether one lifetime you was a male, this lifetime you're feminine energy, whatever it is, this lifetime you may decide to have kids, the other one you didn't, whatever. That's why. And with the planetary energy, what we may know as Jupiter now was a different planet. You could have lived there, you could have existed, you whatever it is. That's
Hmm.
why all those energies. And like when I do, like for instance, here I'm doing what we call a very basic one, but
Yeah.
I go very deep. So like I have astrology courses, I teach things like that. So you have things that are way higher level that I won't go into now that highly, highly affects this.
Hmm.
People really need to know. And so that's why I highly recommend because we miss out a lot of opportunities from our finances, our relationships. We go through a lot of why you keep dating the same person, different casts,
Hmm.
health issues, just a lot of stuff because you don't know your chart, you don't know what's going on, and you just not. And it's really not necessarily avoidable, but you could not have to deal with unnecessary stuff if you recognize it.
Yeah, I think the reason why I asked that question, I think it's real important to understand that there is a science behind all this, and not only that, like in our cultures back in the day, everything revolved around the stars and this astrology.
Mhm.
You know, we've everything because I remember there's one thing I was reading that back in the day, like as far as even um having children, that they would have sex on specific times to bring the children forward to, to line up their signs. It was down to everything went around that aspect being connected to the stars. And that's
But I
to
got
me
you
that.
something, but that is very true. Like for
Hmm.
instance, not only is astrology important, but numerology. But you
Yeah.
also chose when you came, right? Like I was
Hmm.
technically supposed to be in a Virgo. I came
Uh-huh.
3 weeks early to be up under Leo energy because that's obviously when I want to come. And I came on my great grandmother's birthday on August 9th. Both of my children, although I was married, obviously at the time, um, came and they were both controlled children. Like I literally
Hmm.
was on birth control and because they were ready to come to this planet. So people
Yeah.
come when they want, because my doctor's like, you are literally the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
But you're right about putting forth energy because I'm a Leo energy. I have an Aquarian energy in my house. I have a Gemini energy.
Hmm.
In my family, I have like 6 people who are Geminis. I had a Gemini male in my family my whole life. My grandfather was a Gemini, my daddy a Gemini. I got a Gemini son, I got a Gemini bro. Like I have. So when you're talking about certain energies, we
Hmm.
have certain energies that are brought into our homes. Like in my other family, a lot of the women and the strong women happen to be Leo women.
Hmm.
So that you're right. It's certain and like people don't understand the Sakamet. Like when we go back when you're talking about ancient chemist science, it's the
Hmm.
Ra, the Sakamet that was
Hmm.
under Leo. Like which
Hmm.
when I teach my astrology course, yes, I give them the Western name, but I go back to Celtic astrology. I go back to Archimite astrology. I go back. I give them all of the names because I don't give them just this because you need to know
Hmm.
who you under your Chemite name. Well, even going over what are the
Yeah.
years. Just go over this year because technically, like the new year ain't January 1. That's why you have different cultures
Yeah.
celebrating New Year's at different times. Like I understand that I'm Sakamet. I also understand that I'm Auset. I understand I carry the spirit of Maria Lavu. I understand I carry the spirit of
Hmm.
Yimiya. You have to know your various energies because not knowing so is doing a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Because people think that just learning yourself is the actions that you have, but it's so many different layers to you as a person, and it literally does go to the stars, from the physical. I mean, yeah, from
And
for the planet
numerology.
all the way
People
to
be
the
sleeping
stars.
on the
Yeah,
numbers.
numerology. Yep,
Like
yep,
numbers too. Like you gotta get into
yeah,
that gematria. And I ain't
yep,
talking about no angel numbers, not that watered down
yeah,
angel number mess that they be sending you. Like, no, like the
yeah,
real numbers, like that
yeah.
sacred science. Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, it's real interesting because like off camera when we was sister building like I I just spirit was like, yo, give her your date of birth, and then
Oh yeah.
it it opened up a whole can of conversation worms, and and man, we sitting there talking
Mhm.
for like half an hour, going on. I'm just like, yeah, so yeah, numerology, that's a different subject. We'll come back to that on a different time because I had a question. Now, I heard Uncle Rod. If y'all don't know who Rod Hayes is, please check him out. All his
Go check
information.
out the OG. Ron
Yeah,
Hayes is
check it.
literally, let me tell you
Please
about
check
who
out
he
my
is.
big Uncle
Ron
Rod. Cause
Hayes is the truth. He is
yeah,
top.
man.
He is Anubis. He is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
walking book. So if y'all
yeah.
haven't heard of him, follow this channel, catch him
Yes.
on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Catch the OG. He is, yeah, he,
Yeah. Please check out the good brother Uncle Rod.
yeah.
I like to call him Uncle Rod. As soon as first time I got in there, I was like, he reminded me of my uncle's like, I was like, bro, I'm calling you Uncle Rod from now on. You
Like
know
you
what I'm
be sitting
saying?
at the kitchen table just listening to him talk. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so we were talking about. I remember the good brother Uncle Rod was talking about the Haitian war conjure, and and Oshun ceremony. Could you kind of give some history about how that's tied up and connected, and and what's really going on with that right now?
Mm-hmm. So yes, okay. So the Haitian war conjure is, long story short, obviously we had the Haitian Revolution, and they had to call a lot of war energy through voodoo, so that that war could be won. And there were various people from Macklemore, Toussaint Louverture, Duddy Bookman, Cecilia Faltamon, the spirit of Elza Dantor, like a lot of energies call in and more through that energy. But was an open conjure. It was never closed properly. So sometimes
Mm.
when you hear about even us fighting each other, the gang violence, the stuff that's even going on in IAC, is an open spiritual. It's when you hear him talk about 5D chess, or
Mhm.
when he called about the big mom, the spiritual
Mhm.
energy.
Mhm.
So when he's talking about the closing of the conjure, they had to find the people. Essentially, we had to reincarnate back on the land in this lifetime.
Mhm.
And the Oshun priestess, which he talks about that, which I know she is obviously, and I was obviously there during that time. So we had to get the bookman, which the bookman shared on his page. He was doing the closing because he opened it. He had to open the conjure, so he had
Mhm.
to reopen it so he could close it. So he did his part. So the end of this month, we will have our closing for her here in the lands before we go there. So it's been a long, long road. And if they overstood, and I'll be able to share more soon, I want to also kind of get with him of why it was so long, because
Mhm.
obviously, as you see what's going on with Divine Insight, anybody who is involved in it's been under attack.
Mhm.
So the people who were involved just had a lot going on. So
Mhm.
be able to get us close and do our celebration to her here on the land. And once we do that, then IAT calls back and we do that there. And so and it was not by accident. Like I literally was like in tears all day yesterday. And I'm gonna even take just some time off of social media, probably kind of leading towards the end of the year, and so I can get her ceremony. And I'm gonna put a call out to the sisters that I need them to come into agreement with me, those who can reach out and contact me, those who we can get yoni steams together, meditation, even if you don't have to be there, because the first one is going to be a smaller ceremony, the next one will be larger, because it's a very spiritual thing, and it's so beneficial, not just for us in IAC, but for the land. And you'll see
Mhm.
stuff speed up. And I already can sense it because it has been for me, being in it. And so when you've been in so much war energy, and I'm expecting some people to come home soon behind this close, and so that's why I'm excited, because
Mhm.
I'm just expecting some people to be able to come home soon with
Mhm.
us in this too. Hmm.
Yeah, no, that whole it's very interesting because if you just think about the metaphysical slash spiritual side of what had to be done for that revolution, and you think about the energies, and it's like turning on a hose, you know what I'm saying, and the hose going, and that to get all that energy, but the hose just it makes so much sense. The hose just still going like that, and if you don't turn off the hose properly, that it's going everywhere. So
Hmm.
I never really, until you said that, I never really thought about that aspect of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And what was so interesting is
uh-huh.
I always knew who I was my last lifetime, like my very last one. Like I knew who I was in the revolution. And so when I had saw Divine Insight and he talked about who he was, and then when I saw Uncle Rod discuss it and I need to send the bookman to him, I knew. And then he sent me to the priest and I was like, wow. So when you start realizing that we was out here, like I never knew, and I was told to keep it quiet. Like I was told to never, never share that. And I didn't
Yeah.
know why I was told to never share it. But when you understand why, because I mean, my whole life I've had so many attacks, and we all of us have had death experiences and attacks because
Mhm.
that energy of when we came in, we had to come in on such lockdown
Mhm.
this lifetime. So yeah, like a lot of
Yeah.
us had
Yeah.
to keep a lot of stuff locked down until it
Mhm.
was time.
Yeah. That explains a lot more because when I went over to AT and just was learning about the about voodoo, you know, I had a lot of questions about that, and that even what you just sound and even adds more to a lot of the information I received. So, all right, now how about this? Going back to astrology again, okay? Okay, so Saturn in Pisces and Pluto, in Aquarius, and I think it's from March 20, March it starts on March 23rd. What exactly does all that mean?
All right, so why that's interesting is because we talked about the whole Jupiter, Aries, and all that, right? So
Yeah.
Saturn is hitting Pisces March 7th, 2023. Pluto hits Aquarius, I want to say March 23rd, 2023. Saturn basically is what they call they Lord of Karma, they karma planet.
Mm.
Pluto is the planet which naturally normally rules Scorpio, which is the planet of life and rebirth, death, because we know it's not any death.
Mm-hmm.
But when America slash Britain decided to colonize or take over things, just like how we have our own individual natal charts, countries have their natal charts, right?
Mm.
So when planets move in certain alignments, because this particular alignment is like a once every 200 and something 62 years something alignment, which is what they're getting ready to be under. It's
Mm-hmm.
what we call their re-return.
Mm-hmm.
So for a country standpoint, all like that's what I'm saying. They aren't just moving these monies around all that for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not by accident. Globally, a lot of these different governments have been falling and people fighting back. I mean, anytime when you get to seeing people in China fighting back, like, come on, China,
Yeah. I know. That's
go on get the most
woof.
obedient, like, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
They let you know that stuff is not normal and natural. This is galactic. This is esoteric.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So the Saturn Pisces is a 3-year trend. So basically, they finna get that all that karma back. And if you think about Dr. York's book when he talked about that 7-year, I think, tribulation and that, I think I don't
Yeah.
know if he mentioned 2023 to 2030. It
Mm-hmm.
falls in line with
The
the
holy
energy.
tablets. Mm-hmm.
That's why. Okay, Pluto Aquarius is very interesting because remember I told you I've been like in 5 different time frames right now.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is a quick snippet. It's like they're gonna get a little glance up in 2023. It's gonna fully hit 2024, and then once it hits 2024, it stays there to 2046. The thing is that's the whole shutdown. Like when I mean shutdown, I mean like that's where they're gonna be seeing and experience a lot of deaths, like just like a lot of stuff. And so if you
Yeah.
remember that whole, I think right up where they were talking about the decreasing of population
Yeah.
by
Mm-hmm.
2025, and we were seeing like them less 70 to 90%. That's a lot of what that energy is under. That's what that energy. And then when you look at the Jupiter Aries, when I was saying about entrepreneur, basically get your own money because essentially you can't depend on corporate America because a
Yeah.
lot of these people following and we see people being laying off
Laying
people
off. Mm-hmm.
as you wouldn't think. And then the next transit after it, which is going to hit May of 2023, is going to be that Jupiter in Aries. I mean, sorry, Jupiter in Taurus. Taurus
Mm-hmm.
is what the money house. We already just went through all these eclipses under Scorpio Taurus. So again, it's to follow the money system. And you have to understand that when they created 6,000 years ago, the Bible, the Roman Catholic Church, taking
Mm-hmm.
up under the Taurus, well, the cusp of the Taurus to the Aries. That's why it was the ram of the horn and the bull and the ball
Mm-hmm.
energy. So it was under that Taurus stuff. So they was under that financial system and greed and gluttony and money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they're getting ready to be under the fall under it. So that's why the money sits like all, when I say the stars is literally aligned for them for falling, it's literally
Yeah.
every single planet. It's and then everything is going to be what we call forward motion. So just like you got retrogrades that can go back over, you also sometimes it's good to have all the planets forward, and sometimes it ain't. And for them, it's not going to be because a lot of things are going to be what we call forward, meaning it is full steam ahead. And so for us, though, who have been doing right
Mm-hmm.
and our good energy, and
Mm-hmm.
like Taurus is about stability and structure
Mm-hmm.
and family
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And like, cause I'm a Leo Taurus rising, and my mother, who's an ancestor, she was a Taurus woman. But Taurus is also don't play. So our energy is fine, but like with them, they gonna have where they don't like to not be in stability. That's why, like even when they was going through Great Depression, they had all those people,
Suicides.
they out. Or why you look at the crypto boys, you see they've
Mm-hmm.
been. You see what I'm saying? That's why. That's
Mm-hmm.
why.
It's just interesting because it's just everything goes in cycles. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And every dog has their day as well. You know what I mean? And every country has their all these civilizations have their rise and their fall. And I think that a lot of people think that these just because this world is ruled by a certain amount of people that they can automatically continue to have this and the stars don't have any
Mhm.
say in it, you know what I mean, which is the exact opposite. And I just
No, but it's
that's a
not though, and they know it's a reason that Harry and Meghan is over here in America.
yeah.
It's the reason that they was trying to. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they already know. It's the reason that you got more of them trying to breed with more of us because they're
Yeah.
trying to come back and get back in this portal. They know who the
Hmm.
indigenous people and original people of the land is.
Hmm.
Like this is not by accident, and it's a reason that most countries or empires only last no more than 350 to 500 years. It's
Hmm.
esoteric unless you did right, and
Yeah.
you're right, you'll come back.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
comes back to
Yeah.
get them. So all
Yeah.
of it is esoteric, and
Hmm.
they know, and that's why I was saying like don't be letting these people be breeding with you like that. Like they trying to get back. They trying to get back on the planet. You see, they hiding out in the caves. Tell they was hiding out in the caves this summer. They
Tying into the vine. That's what Doc said.
solar
Tying
flares.
into the vine.
Solar flares. We had M level solar flares, M class solar
Yeah.
flares a couple days ago. So like I know people say well, it goes the internet. Like I know me and you when we were doing our sound check, the internet was kind of off. It's
Hmm.
gonna be like that. And it's gonna get worse because these
Yeah.
solar flares are not only dealing with technology, but
Hmm.
in addition, it's upgrading our DNA and it's shutting down the
Yeah.
system. And I'm telling people they gotta prepare for the CME that's coming because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
coming. Because I've seen it, and I don't be seeing visions that don't come. There is gonna come a point that it's not gonna be here for a while because this fake technology's got to shut down, and then we'll get
Yeah.
our real one, which is the
Yeah.
proper one that was supposed to be free all along. Because see what they
Hmm.
did is they cut us off from our real free technology. Like all of
Yeah.
this, so even the most quote unquote fancy technology is nothing compared to
Yeah.
like our galactic real stuff that we had that was free. Like our real free technology that we had. So all this
Yeah.
fake one gonna shut down. They're gonna shut it down. It's gonna be a rough little patch, and then we'll be back and playing the card. Be all right.
And even in modern days, they had to shut Tesla down because he had that high level stuff that he could have easily gave the whole world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
High
he stole his
technology.
stuff too, though.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, he stole his stuff too.
Yeah. Wouldn't doubt it. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't doubt it. So now, no, I have another question. Just dealing with like Uncle Rod talks about Big Mama. And this is a question that I've I travel a lot around and I see um a different type of mindset in a lot of people. You
Flintstone
know what I mean?
technology, yeah, we do.
I know, right? That's a good one. I see a lot of I've seen a difference, if you take 10, even going back further, as far as the mindsets of people, it's like more people are waking up. What I know we're going to the age of Aquarius. How is that all having an effect on the overall conscious of overall humanity? You know what I mean? How is that happening?
Okay, so this is what's going on. Especially the newer stuff. Well, it's two parts. So let me kind of break it down.
Hmm.
So a lot of the souls, especially like around the 70s, a lot of like around our age group, we came in highly
Hmm.
like in the indigo.
Yeah.
So of course in school they tried to do the whole brainwash stuff and we weren't going. If you really think back on your childhood, we was getting put out of school like when they were trying to tell us we came from monkeys and
Hmm.
trying to teach
Yeah.
us about the time
Slaved up.
like that, just the crazy stuff like, and we was like, nah, they ain't adding up. And so we were kind of like first break, and then that group after us, was like, breaking it more and more. So we came here a lot more aware because I know as long as I can remember, I always saw people who transitioned. I always could look in the sky and the stars. The reason I got into astrology or became whatever word you call it, I would tell my dad, like, that's Venus or that's this. And he would say,
Hmm.
well, how do you know that? And of course, I'm
Yeah.
44, so there was no computers really like that out. And so we had to wait till the 6 o'clock news came on. And they would be like, oh, the planet this is by the moon today. And he'd be like, how you know? I'd be like, I don't know, I just knew. So we came here uploaded with the information because we used to have the encyclopedias at the encyclopedia man used
Yeah.
to to your house. And that was our computer, the encyclopedias. So
Hmm.
our group came with basically a lot of our book, a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah.
And
I
from
got you.
then on, because even like with my kids
That
and
makes
everything,
sense.
they came with their knowingness. So the mind games, they couldn't really do it.
Hmm.
What we were still disconnected from was the divine feminine energy, right?
Hmm.
So they've been playing this real war game of really separating the divine masculine from the divine
Hmm.
feminine. What's
Hmm.
new coming, in particular, the last year or two, is really bonding back the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy and realizing, look, we are one. We're together. We're not enemies. Because that's what they
Hmm.
have been doing to keep us separated. Because we need both energies collectively. Like it's a unit, it's a helix bond.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what they understand is that sun upgrade is what's been doing it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it. And a lot of that with people getting back in their studying and getting into self and meditation. Like
Hmm.
as much as don't get me wrong that because I have all my book of life, and I mean I do love Oshun and I love Auset, but at most of all I love self.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why at the top of the things they had know thyself. Because I'll
Yep.
tell people there is no greater altar in my house than the altar I have than
To yourself.
thyself. And
Yep.
you want to know why? Because I have had 8 lifetimes before here. So how am I going to honor my ancestors in Oshun and Oya but I don't honor
Not
me.
only
If
yourself.
anybody you
Yep.
ever seen, like my kids are really into anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody watched Avatar, the anime Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Aang, when he's learning himself and his younger self, his past selves come help his current self.
Mm-hmm.
And so they help him fight, they help him learn, they help a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So when sometimes if you notice you feel sleepy or tired, out
Mm-hmm.
the blue, sometimes you feel angry at the blue, sometimes you feel happy. Part of it is not always you. Somebody is probably
Mm.
on your altar that they got to you from one of your past lives saying, just like how you to petition your mom or petition Ocean or petition somebody, somebody is petitioning you because you've been here before. This
Yeah.
ain't your first lifetime saying, I need help. And you don't even know why you done got angry at the blue, but that's because somebody that came to you and your spirit, you're still coherent. So that's why,
Mm-hmm.
like, I have an altar, like, I use my personal altar, like, my altar is bad, that I come to self whenever I need work. So that's why if I ever go to my mama altar, if I am my own shun, they come answer me immediately because I don't really go to them. Because I go within first. And so
That
people
makes
are
sense.
fine because we was never taught to go outside of self until
Yeah.
that white man
Religion.
told you to go look without. We knew that
Yep.
every answer we need, you just gotta tap out and get quiet enough
Quiet. Yeah.
and just listen because I
Mm-hmm.
promise all the answers are within. And that's all, like when I do, when I talk about teaching, I, to me, if everybody has to continue to come to me, I failed as a teacher. I want you to be able to go on to self. I like people to read. That's why I call it re-remember. Because and I don't deal with baby students because you are an ancient soul. You just forgot.
Mm-hmm.
You just got
Yeah.
amnesia right now.
Amnesia. Yep.
You are eternal. You are smart. You are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You are powerful. You are
Mm-hmm.
anointed. You are a high priestess or a chief on the land. And I just want the people to help re-remember who they are, and then
Mm.
you get the next one, and then you
Yes.
teach
I
her.
love it.
Help them remember, and then you go get the next one. Like that's who I am, and my
Yeah.
goal is to
Yeah.
help people re-remember, and then so they can go get, and then send them out to go get the next one.
Yeah.
Like people try to hijack stuff. Like they want to be the only person. I gotta be the
Mm-hmm.
grandest astrologer. I gotta be the grandest teacher. I gotta be the only one. I'm the best. No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Just
If
one teach
somebody
one.
isn't gotten to themselves, they gotta keep coming to you. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
did your job.
Yeah.
Like what is the problem? Like this is not about who the most popular. Like
Yeah.
consciousness is not a popularity
I
contest.
know.
Like they get on my nerves with it.
I know. I despise all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going back to earlier talking about like, Baba, Dr. York, he breaks down the vortex that happened, I guess, every 10 years with the Philadelphia experiment, twisted it. How does now that vortex that Dr. York was talking about, how does that affect it? Because what 2023 would be correct because of the 3 years off, 2023 would be
Mhm.
the next time the vortex would be opening, correct?
Yeah, now that part, I don't really do that. I follow like how when they talk about astrology, the 24,000 year cycle.
Okay.
So I'm
Hmm.
more kind of in line with that. But I do know about what they call the 10-year cycle window because we
Okay.
are getting ready to go into what you're talking about 2023. I kind
Yeah.
of call it that 2023 because what
Hmm.
it is it's an opening, it's a portal.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You think
Hmm.
about with CERN, like this summer when everybody was all spastic about the CERN. It was like, oh my God, they're gonna turn on the CERN, they're gonna change our reality.
Hmm.
And that time, like everybody was chicken little, right? And I
Yeah.
kept telling them, I kept saying, don't get concerned about CERN because they are concerned, not us.
Hmm.
And what Spirit told me during that July 3rd through July 5th, and I was in preparation, I was like watching how I ate. I got real light. Because I said, if
Hmm.
you think about Uncle Ra OG, when he talked about the whole Thanksgiving thing,
Yeah.
ritual, what he talked about and said, he said, we was eating, and we normally don't
Hmm.
eat heavy like that.
Yep.
We was smoking, our stuff, they was smoking. And then they had gave us that liquor, that fire water, and they had
Hmm.
our stuff off. So they caught us slipping.
Hmm.
Well, that July 3rd, what people normally do, had a barbecue,
Hmm.
drinking, the fence down, they was trying to do their machine during then. Well, enough of us, I believe, in that season for that July 3rd through 5th of this year was like, you know what? And just in general, people ain't really been, if you notice, people ain't really been celebrating holidays.
Yeah.
People ain't really
Hmm.
been going, even people who religion ain't been going to church, people just whatever. But Spirit was like, they are using this as like a last ditch effort. Like that's what I heard in my
Yeah.
story is they were running for their goddamn life.
Life.
They
Yeah.
were afraid. And it was because you have to understand that's the energy weapon because they don't have the keys and codes, right?
Hmm.
They're not nine either.
Yeah.
So you have to build what we naturally can do. I can sit on my couch and I can go without. They got to build something to do what we can sit
Yeah.
on my couch
Yeah.
and do, right?
Hmm.
So while we were sitting on our couch meditating, they trying to do a machine, that shit didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they knew that 2023, like what Dr. Joe, that every 10-year portal on top of
Hmm.
this whole cycle, because it moves over, like we talking about the age of Aquarius. So they have so many factors. Because really,
Hmm.
this is supposed to be over 1913. They got an
Hmm.
extra almost 100 years because it's really supposed to have been over. They
Yeah.
supposed to lost
They got
they,
an extension.
like they got an extension,
Hmm.
but they know it's over.
Yeah.
So
That's why
it's
that scam
something.
happened, right? That's why
Mhm.
that last scam, the COVID scam, and other things that come
That's
out.
why
They,
they was trying to scam, and that's why I'm
yeah,
a pure blood, and that's why they was trying to get us so we wouldn't be no pure bloods, and that's why I'm
yeah,
telling you because these people can't. But that's why a lot of people, you know what, and that's why everybody can't go. And I
yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
most heartbreaking thing. But as a spiritual warrior, you learn everybody can't go. Because
well,
I tried to talk to so many people, and they would not listen. Our people would not listen because they let fear
yeah,
take
yeah,
them over.
exactly. Well, and that's kind of going into another question I have. Like Uncle Rod always talked about Big Mama, right? And I remember Dr. Delbert Bear was saying that the Earth is going from like to kindergarten to graduate school. You know what I'm saying with
Mhm.
the vibration. So, and going back to what I was saying earlier about how seeing the level of this of the consciousness levels of people or just humanity, are raising. Also like the degenerate low vibrational mindsets that are here. Is but Big Mama, since she's coming up and the planet is, I mean, they got to go, right? How does that, how is that
They're not
working
going to
out?
be able to stay. Their frequency
Yeah.
won't allow them to. And
Say
this
that
is
again.
another when we talk. I said they're going to have to go because their frequency is not going to allow
Okay.
them to stay.
All right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to just either physically leave and
Mm-hmm.
have to come back or whatever. But they're not going to go. But I'll tell you another thing is, when we talk about Big Mama,
Mm-hmm.
when we let me tell you an interesting thing. When we talk about Big Mama, like that's
Mm-hmm.
why even in their Bible, again, the Bible has some codes and keys in there. That's why they was telling you, and a child shall lead you. A lot of big mamas is in younger age. So a lot of people be missing who the matriarchs and patriarchs on the land because you be thinking that they're a younger person. Like there's some people I be seeing, like they could be 17-year-olds or 19-year-olds or whatever. They have more wisdom
Yeah.
than some of the older people. So
Mm-hmm.
we also have to redefine just because you have age does not mean you're automatically the elder in the land because the eldership is a spiritual innateness maturity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
that energy. So people gonna have to understand that because when things is getting ready to switch over, the people who getting ready to get the land deeds and the people who gonna have to be over the finances and money and stuff like that for some of the families that y'all gonna have to go through, they
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna be a lot younger than some folk.
Yeah.
Like so
Yeah.
you gotta understand who the matriarchs and patriarchs getting ready to be.
Yeah. So interesting thing you were saying earlier about the sun, because I know I remember Doc was talking about how we have non-ether beings have non-magnetic particles, and he was going
Mhm.
on and talking about the DNA and the barytheric gland being removed and etc. And we lost a lot of our high sciences. So are the solar flares in like the tree nodes that are put in, are they connected to waking up that latent DNA? I mean the latent DNA, the junk DNA?
Absolutely, and that sun
Mm-hmm.
is not the old sun. We getting our original sun back. Like to me, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's nemesis that's coming back in here.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all notice too, have y'all been starting noticing it seem like it's a moon? It look almost like a moon that be at the same time day as the sun.
Yeah,
So I
I
was
seen it.
like really in meditation with the spirit. I'm like, I don't know if this is another planet, spaceship, or something, but like we're getting
Mm-hmm.
ready to get our suns and our original energy back. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it absolutely is, which is why I'm getting this summer they had to be hiding out in the caves because, and like, cause even this year, like I had to switch completely how I was eating. It was like before the temperatures changed, spirit spoke to me and said, "You got to get lighter," and it wasn't even way
Yeah.
lighter. It was like everything, like spiritually, like because in
Mm-hmm.
order to be able to stay here, everybody's gonna have to elevate. Like you
Yeah.
got to elevate spiritually, you got to elevate how you eating, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
telling people how to eat a certain way, but I'm telling you that energy, because like what Dr. York was saying, they had pulled us down so
Mm-hmm.
low, and they pushed our sun out. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
now our original energy is coming back, and so we have to be prepared to be able to receive and accept that energy.
I always think it's real interesting, even like when you talk about the sun aspect. Because I remember reading like the book Man from Planet Rich Doc put out, and he
Mhm.
was talking about the three suns, and everybody's like he's saying like everybody think I'm crazy, but just watch. And it's like now you go, you look at the NASA and all these, now oh, the star concept, there's planets would have three suns. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it's amazing to me how all these good master teachers we had back in the 90s, how they're so spot on for this day and time. You know what I'm saying? All of them,
Yeah, I mean, I really, in my spirit, I feel like he was one of the original 24 elders. Like, there's a reason they
hey,
were after him. That man was so ahead of his time. The way that he drew the pictures, the detail, the information, even certain movies that have come out, and the way that they drew the demonic or the
yeah.
deity.
Mm-hmm.
Years later, he
Years, yeah,
didn't
years
have
later.
these books out. They mimicked
Yeah,
his
they
stuff.
mimicked him. Yep.
He knew
They
stuff
did
that
it all
they
the
know, and
time.
they just could not handle it. But I mean, he saw some creation of some things. He came into flesh to be able to give us a message to help awaken the consciousness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
you went
Rod
out.
is
Yeah,
another
went
one
out
like
did that.
that. Rod, like people don't. Rod is top. Rod wrote the
Yeah,
Emerald Tablets. Like I
yeah.
don't know if people recognize it, but he is over the school of Timbuktu. Like nobody normal can retain that amount of information.
What after seeing and just being around and getting received from information from Dr. York, when I first heard Uncle Rod, and hearing other things, he caught my ear, honestly. You know what I'm saying? He caught my ear. I was just like, he ain't talking about no regular.
Mm-mm.
He ain't coming from no. It was definitely something next
It's
level. You know what I'm
esoteric. It's
saying?
not. I mean, yes, he gives information out of books so that people can go back. But if you
Yeah.
listen to information and how he
Hmm.
gets it, it's
Hmm.
like a galactic download. Like it's not
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
even when I was talking to him, like, building with him one on one, and he was saying certain things to me, he was like, sitting there reading me like real time. I'm like, God dang. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So y'all gotta stand like, this is a small
And when you
fraction of
have
who
people
we
like that
were.
and teachers like that, people have to be very appreciative because I think like
Yeah.
people sometimes take it for granted
Hmm.
when energies like that in our atmosphere. Because like he's such a humble
Yeah. Oh yeah.
spirit, you know what I'm saying? Like his heart, like
Hmm.
now don't get it wrong, he a warrior.
Yeah, yeah, oh
Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But his spirit is humble and his heart is pure. And so I think people have to number one, appreciate those kind of energies of people who are coming in. Cause I mean he freely like I mean who be sitting on live like the other night, he was on live like 3 hours.
Yeah,
Like who
yeah,
would
yeah.
sit on live and just take calls for 3 hours.
Yep.
And he'll go on so many platforms. Like you have to really receive that kind of information because that's
Yeah,
just very
yeah.
rare. Mm-hmm.
It's needed, good brothers like him, you know what I'm saying? It's so needed right now to
Mm-hmm.
be able to really just get us, to where we need to be real time with this information. So shout out Uncle Rod. I don't know if you're watching this night, but we
Yeah, I
appreciate
think
what
he'll
you're
on
doing,
Young
brother.
Elder tonight.
Oh, he's on Young. Okay, all
If he not on it now, he's gonna be on there later because I know I'm gonna catch it because I try to catch it when he get on Young Elder page. So
right. Nice. All right. Well, all right. Another thing. So Chiron is an Aries, right?
mhm.
And Mars is in Gemini, that energy. How is it all currently affecting us?
Okay, so Chiron is what they call Chiron the wounded healer, right? So by sitting in Aries, Aries is again the sign of self. So number one, if you are an Aries, you've been obviously hit more where it's making you focus on self. But most importantly, what it's doing for the collective consciousness is dealing with the individual of self of business and with Jupiter meaning the planet of expansion whatever it's Jupiter touches, it expands. So when it's going to conjunct with Chiron, it means that number one, a lot of people are doing a lot of shadow work. Like this has
Yeah.
been shadow work time. Like
Mm-hmm.
you've been forced to do it. So shadow work, past lives, inner child, dealing with self, like you can't run from it. And so for many years, people ran from it, but in particular, the last few years, people haven't been able to, and they're not. And
Yeah.
especially going into next year, the first 3 months of the year, that January through March, your people really gonna be hit, but probably the in this lifetime energy, those childhood wounds, and it's coming to clean and heal stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
Awesome.
that energy, but also it's really again what I like to have to bring down because I like to bring down the personal and then what's going on globally or in America, that pulling down that system. So again, it's getting out of that America individualized system of being very selfish, being
Hmm.
abusive,
Yeah, yeah.
all that kind of stuff, and coming back to individuals and self. So it's just
Hmm.
it's doing a lot of that inner work.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, it's that, like you said, that shadow work is a very difficult, hard thing, but it's one of the most necessary things, you know what I'm saying, that it does. And it like you were talking about anime, you know, you can
Mhm.
become Super Saiyan like Goku by
Mhm.
doing that shadow work. You know, you get to the next level.
Anime be dropping jewels. Like if you're not watching anime, like that's one of the like
Yeah.
when they say that in the child shall lead you. My kids be teaching me so much. Like anime, they have so many jewels from whether it's Hunter or
Hmm.
Avatar or any of those. They have so much information in there. Like they put a lot of
I
codes
agree.
and keys in those stories.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stay on the astrology tip if you don't mind. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So how about this? 2023, all
Hmm.
right. Jupiter is in Taurus.
Hmm.
Could you build on that, please?
All right. So Jupiter in Taurus is about, again, financial stability and structures. So for those who are Taurus individuals in general, so if you're in the sign of Taurus, meaning sun, moon, or rising, that's definitely the time for you to grow your finances, to focus on the house, right? The building of the house, building of
Hmm.
yourself.
Okay.
Now, what also, when you look at it for the America, again, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, when they came under the Roman Catholic Church, they came under between the sign of Taurus and moving into the Aries. When you look at the ram and ball, that's again of why that system is collapsing. So that's why why it's moving again between Aries and Taurus again, our people need to focus on entrepreneurship and then getting your stability and structure and family. So that's why these two almost are married. Like it's almost like they're interconnected when you look at how it's at. With Taurus, Taurus is very much about slow and steady wins the race, right? Aries is the fire sign. Aries is like, look, go, 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 go. I don't have to have
Hmm.
a plan on. I'm just going big and bright, and that's it. I'm going. Taurus is like, no, I'm planning this out. What is
Yeah.
our long term goals and structure? How are we gonna get this? And I want to have this continually. That's
Hmm.
Jupiter Taurus energy is we're gonna have it continually. That's where that
Yeah.
is at.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. That makes sense. So now this always was something that interested me. Just dealing with like eclipses and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the shit. Well, I think they said there should be a solar eclipse. I think it's sometime in April, right?
Yeah, we got a
2024.
couple eclipses next year. So the first one is going to be a total lunar eclipse in Aries. That one is a really deep one because
Uh-huh.
when it's in Aries, it's coming in at 29-degree Aries, which is the end of Aries.
Okay.
When it comes, anything comes in a 0 or 1, that's the beginning energy, knowing that something's a new beginning. Anytime something coming in at 29-degree, that means something is ending. So they show you that a cycle is ending. So and then we already know we got Chiron and
Mm,
we didn't have Jupiter. So that's number one.
gotcha.
Then it's a total eclipse. Then it comes in at 12-12 from a numerology standpoint of that
Hmm.
number. And then it's on the 20th. So it's a whole lot of cultivation and it's a total eclipse. So
Wow.
it's just a close out, like it's a lot of energy coming in there. So we got that Aries eclipse, then we got another partial eclipse in Scorpio again. We already had the Scorpio Taurus, so we got another Scorpio eclipse next year. We got a solar eclipse in Libra. Libra coming in the mix next year.
Hmm.
So Libra, that's going to be heavily relationships again. Libra's
Mm.
relationship. So and eclipses come to eclipse things. So if something is not going right, if relate in particular relationships and partnerships. So that's heavily relationships. So not just even if you are in the sign of Libra, but just in general. So that's coming October 14th next year. Before that October 14th, if their relationship, marriage ain't right, or partnership, business partnership, it's gonna get eclipsed out during that Libra eclipse. I'm telling you right now, because that's just what they do. Eclipses come to remove things and eclipse things that are no longer.
Mm. I
And
never
then
thought
we
about it that
got the
way.
last one that'll be in Taurus on October 28th. Again, that's with your financial house, and it's gonna be finally wiping out. And I really see that their money system will be finalizing out. Like next year is gonna be really big in the money. Taurus has
Yeah.
a very big year next year in all the astrological house. It's heavy on the money system and basically showing a reset, a financial reset. Is because Taurus is moving in too many different houses between eclipses and Jupiter, and just the way it's moving, it's a big money thing next year.
So Like you and other sisters, that are really, and we talk about Big Mama, uh, I see like a rise, I see a lot of women, feminine out there that are really, coming forth as information, really, stepping up front and just, teaching and nurturing.
Mhm.
So is that like a sign of the divine feminine energy and a return of the matriarch? Is that all associated with astrologically as well?
Yeah, it's definitely the return of the divine feminine energy
Mm-hmm.
on the planet. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Planet Kai is a she planet. It's a divine feminine planet.
Mm-hmm.
They switched and tried to move the energy on Aries, right, into masculine energy, which is why even with that eclipse ending at the 29th degree in Aries, it's showing you that that's ending, right? It's going back into a divine feminine energy. So, and it's still duality. It's not that like, oh, we don't need masculine energy. We
Yeah,
need
of
both.
course.
It's just that it was so patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
They
Unbalanced.
removed, yeah, the divine
Yeah,
feminine. So it's going back to where it needs to be in a balance because they
yeah,
just completely removed the divine feminine holistically, and that's just not balanced. I mean, even down to the point they were cutting all the feminine trees. That's why
yeah,
pollen was so bad and allergy was so bad because they didn't have anything but good
yeah.
masculine trees. You have to have balance and duality in all things. That's the laws of Ma'at.
Yeah, I've read that book by Mama Zagbe, the Sybil,
Mhm.
and I really had a different perspective on because we're never told how things were back when the matriarch was running. We have to really dig to see how things really were and just the power these sisters had. You know what I'm saying? So anybody get a chance, check out that book, the
Well,
Sybil
I'll
by
explain to
Mama
you when
Zagbe.
you talk about divine feminine energy or matriarchal, right? So I'm gonna kind of do it 2 points. I'm gonna do
Okay,
astrological and story, right?
okay.
So like next year, Venus moves, does retrograde in Leo, right? Leo
Hmm.
rules the heart. Although it's a masculine sign, it deals with the heart, it's feminine energy, because it's like you gotta go rework, you gotta go back over the heart of the matter of the things, right?
Hmm.
What's not serving you. You look at Oshun, so if you look at Ifa, the Rishas, the whole story is, they came down here and everybody had their assignment and they basically did Oshun wrong and was like, whatever. And then
Hmm.
they came back and they were like, okay, well, where's Oshun? About to last, where's Oshun? Like, where's my
Hmm.
daughter? And it's
Hmm.
like, oh, she down there, she's doing whatever. And he's like, don't nothing get done until Oshun does it. That's why she's the sweet water, right?
Hmm.
Because you have to have that, like you can have the sun, you can have the builders, you can have the iron, you can have the steel. But if you look at like now, if you look at how the Mississippi rivers pull back, if you look at
Hmm.
the droughts of the land, they was begging for rain. If you don't have the water, if you don't have the sweet waters, you can't have your crops growing, you can't have your stuff.
Yeah.
That's what the big mamas in the house, the divine feminine. That's why, like when the grandma or the big mamas passed in the family, they would say everything was good, and big mama passed, the family fell apart because
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
have that glue, that structure, that divine
Hmm.
feminine, that sweet water, that energy. You have to have a balance. And so, because the families, the people, the societies have lost the balance of the divine feminine energies, we've been off kilter. The swivel been off. So
Gotcha.
we're returning to saying, okay, first of all, let's honor you. That's even part of the ceremony. Not that we're honoring her for another reason, but it's putting her back, like Uncle Robbie saying, in her rightful seat and position. Like
Yeah.
you can't take somebody off their
Hmm.
rightful seat and position. And it balances again the scales because you can't have your scales like this.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't we don't want it like this either. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you look at the XY chromosome, it was XX. We brought y'all in because
Yeah.
we wanted like this on planet Kai. But
Yeah.
when we brought them in, they was like, okay, you about to say we don't love you no more, we don't need you. And it was like
It
this, like,
flipped
no,
up. Yeah.
yeah, we gotta balance it. We gotta
Yeah.
be mutually exchangeable and
That's real talk.
bring the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, staying on the astrological tip, I know this is an important one as well. Like just dealing with the Venus retrograde, in Leo. I think
Mhm.
in 2023 upcoming. What I mean, what's that about? How is that?
Yeah, Venus retrograde is number one. Like I say, Leo rules the heart, but Venus retrograde is going to be a lot about the self, right? Which is
Hmm.
interesting for Leo because Leo's not normally been about the self. Leo's
Hmm.
always kind of about others, and people may try to talk big crap about Leo, but the way that the retrograde energy pulls for 2023 is it's going to be the heart of the matter is going to be a lot of introspective about self, and it's about what do you love, what are you passionate about, are you doing what you love and are you
Yeah.
passionate about? Like next year is the big energy of introspective self, spirituality, and finances, but it's about getting really back to the being happy because like a lot of
Yeah.
people lost
Yeah.
connections. Like people don't
I
even
see
realize
that.
that they numb. Really, we got Stockholm syndrome. Really,
Hmm.
really break it down. We had really became one with our oppressors. And so
Hmm.
what the astrological energy in particular next year is doing is separating us esoterically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually away from our oppressors.
Hmm.
And that's even what the Venus and Leo energy about is come into yourself. What do you love? No, not what do they say you love. Like if
Yeah.
you ask a person, well, who are you? Well, I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, no, who are you?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what the Venus and Leo energy is going to be about is who are you? Like, well,
Hmm.
I'm an astrologer. No, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, no, really, who are you? Like, not your title, not your sex, not your status, like marital status, whatever. Who are you? Because right now, if you ask people who are they, because when I do life coaching, because I'm also a life coach and a licensed counselor and all that, and I do that in my life coaching, I ask people, and we go over their will of life, and I say, well, who are you? They cannot answer that question because they give me I'm a artist, I'm a parent, I'm a mom, even if
Mm.
they get to the spiritual, I'm a Reiki teacher, no, who are you? People
Mm.
don't know who they are. And so that Leo, Venus and Leo retrograde energy that's come back is gonna get them back to the heart of the matter of who are you? Because people have
Yeah.
lost
Yeah.
themselves. And so we have a lot of people with mental, emotional, and spiritual amnesia. They don't know who they are. They have
Mm.
lost. They don't know. They have
Yeah.
forgotten. Mhm.
Yeah. It's interesting because even you just saying that, it's like once you start to go
Mhm.
down that journey to find self and
Mhm.
you look around in the world, it's like you can't, it's very difficult to even relate to the world because this world, this matrix they made, you can just see through the falsehoods of it. So,
And
you
it's
know what I'm
gonna be
saying?
ugly. It's not a pretty
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
again where we mentioned shadow work. In order to
Hmm.
find self, you got to go through the ugly sides, and then you got
Yeah,
to love the ugly sides of yourself,
exactly.
and you got to
Exactly.
embrace it because they taught
Hmm.
us to not like even what they call the ugly sides. But you know what? I embrace every side, like
Yeah.
even what they call the bad times. Like, no, I embrace it all because one, all things come to teach me. I wouldn't be who I am without it. And it's a beautiful experience. Like
Yeah,
I
I agree.
enjoy it all. Like I'm not ashamed about any of it. For what? Who said I had to be? Like who made that stupid ass rule? Like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Obviously, somebody don't
Learning
know that, don't
like
know
even
nothing.
like I was speaking to someone who they had people deal with sexual child trauma, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you would think like that's one of the most ugliest memories, right? And
Hmm.
and no, it's not a great memory, but because of that, you understand if you learn to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
If you dealt with a bad relationship, then you
Hmm.
know if you learn self-worth. If you dealt with financial trauma or low self-esteem or depression or what people call suicidal attempts or whatever, you learn that's shadow work. You
Yeah.
have to go through the like
Yeah.
pressure literally makes a diamond. Everybody want to be a diamond, but don't nobody want the pressure.
The blood pressure. Well,
Right. And nobody want to share it because and then social media made it worse. Because on
yeah.
social media, everybody's stunning in front and want to act like everything is okay. And
Okay. Yeah.
it's not okay. Like stop fronting. It's not. And it's okay that it's not. And who said what okay was and what okay wasn't? Right?
It was, yeah, it was heavy. I mean, it was heavy what you were saying earlier because and it goes along with this, just saying that we are here. This is a school,
It,
you
Earth is a
know.
school. You
Yeah.
can't
So
even
if
lie.
you
Yeah.
if you put your mind in that mindset and you embrace and absorb every every incident that every experience that you have, you learn from everything.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The good, like you said, the good, the bad,
And
and the
you
ugly.
learn from everyone. Like you
Yes,
learn from those
exactly,
who hurt you, just like you learn from
exactly,
the ones who helped and healed you, right?
exactly,
So that's why I
exactly.
say I appreciate everybody and every experience, even those
I
who
agree.
I may have not quote unquote had the what I call the best experience from. But you know what?
Hmm.
I thank them because who I am today, they help mold and make me, right? So
Hmm.
every that's why I always say all things come to teach you.
Yep, I
All things
agree.
like I don't and they would say, if you could do this over with you, nope. I wouldn't change a thing. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
me
change
neither.
one thing.
Me
Because if
neither.
you do, then you're gonna switch up who you are. You
Exactly.
can't get to who you are without going through the mud, without going through the tears, without going like the reason you have people who are spiritual war. You wanna know why you got some people who are spiritual warriors and who you
Hmm.
have folks who in the spirit realm that demons are entities, are reptilians,
Hmm.
or draconians tremble. When we come
Hmm.
around, they dare not come to me
Hmm.
because they know. Or to
Yeah.
some of us, because we were ready. We've been
Yep.
through stuff.
Yep.
So, but we had to go through that and to
Mhm.
toughen up and build up our armor so they
Mhm.
know. So you have to go through that to be there. But everybody want to get the armor and want to be soldiers and want to be a
And not
dime.
do the fight.
They
Not do
don't
the fight. You know what
wanna-
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's so true. So how about this? Jumping back to astrology, because there's a solar and a lunar eclipse, right,
right.
in 2023, right? I guess the solar is in Libra and the eclipse is in Taurus. Could you kind of, build on that?
Yeah. So solar energy obviously is when obviously the sun is eclipsing, the lunar is when the moon, but it's the energies, right? So basically when they're trying to eclipse the sun is when they're trying to bring the dark energy.
Hmm.
And when the moon is eclipsed is when you have a complete, like the complete blackout. But to me, like the way that I have it is, first of all, eclipses are portals. They're openings and they're
Mm,
doorways. So to me, I don't look at the eclipse as much as I look at the energy that comes in with it.
got you.
That's the upload that spirit gave me,
Got
right?
you.
And for me, the biggest eclipse that I'm looking at that's coming actually is not in 2023, but it's 2024, which is that April 8th, 2024 eclipse that's coming on the land. That'll be hitting
Hmm.
America because it's going to cross sect the one that we had in 2017, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if anybody looks back, things have drastically changed since 2017 because we had
Definitely.
August that in Leo eclipse August 21st, 2017, and it hit across North America. And so it was that one side where we're getting ready to have that second cross sectional on April 8th, 2024, that's going to hit like over 200 cities and like I think it's how I can't remember. It's like maybe 200 million people. But long story short, it's the final of the ultimatum, and it's hitting like that what we call the new magic fall. So all the DCs and Marylands, it's hitting that 33rd parallel is what it's hitting.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so that's the one that all to me, all of these little itty bitty eclipses is building up to that big one, right?
Gotcha.
That big one in 2024. Because the first part of it already happened in 2017. And when that one come in 2024, and it's that X marks the spot, like it's literally that X marks the spot of that energetic energy. And it's
Hmm.
two fire signs because you got Leo energy that hit, and then the next fire sign of Aries and
Hmm.
that's going to finish crossing it out. And these are rare entities. This is not stuff that happens all the time. It's not even a once every 50 years. Like this does not happen.
Hmm.
And it's again America's harmonic energy
Hmm.
of wiping stuff out. And
Hmm.
so that's the one that all of us that really follow the stars in astrology are waiting on, that April 8th, 2024. Like we're watching this other stuff because we know for us what we're looking at is this is the breadcrumbs that's leading to this big one.
Yeah.
That's the way
Yeah.
we're looking.
No, I think about that quite often just because of the history of, America once it was hijacked and, the flip was made. Um, how does that retrograde and the retrograde energy, in return, how does in the return in the karma energy, how does that work and how does that affect the places like America that has so much, and other like Britain, all these people that have so much blood in their hands for all the murder and all that kind of stuff that happened so many years? How does that all?
Well, I mean, it's happening now. Like,
Mhm.
like where I said best, it's happening in real time, right?
Mhm.
But people are missing it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, when you're seeing all these rebellions, when you're seeing the finances going on, when you're seeing
Yeah.
the shortages, when you're seeing the resets and things in real time. Like
Yeah.
it's literally going on now. And
Mhm.
some people are just missing it. That's why they be saying the revolution will not be televised because it's
Mm.
happening. And people are missing it, right? So it's affecting them because most of what you see now is fake. It's CGI. These
Yeah.
are clowns. Like DC been closed. Like I don't even understand what people. Why are they confused? Like it's not real.
Phony. Yeah.
It's all fake. It's all phony. It's not
Mhm.
real. It's an illusion.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's the
Um,
Matrix. Yeah. It's literally the Matrix. It's,
but the matrix has fallen.
yeah.
And if you even follow, like in reality, the court dockets, right? So if you
Mhm.
look at the Supreme Court dockets of them like having to give back the land or answer to them essentially being imposters on the land, like are like what's getting ready to happen with this shot, and they get ready to probably hit the Nuremberg trials from a global standpoint. Like the things are happening in the public domain in real
Mhm.
time. But because
Mhm.
it's not on the news,
Yeah.
people are missing it, which is why they want to ban like TikTok, right? Because
Exactly. Yeah.
we are sharing it. is on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter and TikTok because we can't get our information on the news. And then like places like IG and Facebook will ban us or shut our stuff
Yeah,
down,
yeah, 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 yeah.
which are live, whatever.
Shadow.
So we have to be very careful. But that's why it's important for us to get our own platforms. I'm very big on that. We got to come up with our own stuff so that we can
Mm.
freely share because it is happening. It's just a lot of
Yeah,
people don't know because you have to really search for it and look for it.
yeah, because that showing that, like, I just saw someone on daggone TikTok today when they're showing all these people in China like fighting against them. And China is like one of the most
They
worst,
was
like, they,
basically zombies, essentially. I
you know
mean,
what I'm
they was
saying?
essentially did whatever, but like,
Yo.
but I'm gonna tell you what I really
Mm-hmm.
sense in the spirit. America,
Mm-hmm.
like our 2023 is going to be interesting. We may not hit the rebellion to 2024, which will be on time because it is their election year, which ain't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
their,
yeah, yeah.
election. But when you look at all the astrological planet, when you look at the retrogrades, when you look at the eclipses, when you look at how the Mars, Chiron, which is kind of the war energy
Mm-hmm.
stuff starts hitting, there's going to be a revolt
Yeah.
here. And so really
Mm-hmm.
we're the last ones in the last standing. Because even if you look at IAC, right? People
Mm-hmm.
they be trying to lie and say, well, they're just fighting. No, they're fighting their government.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
they're fighting their government saying, you over here trying to mess with our gas, you trying to hold us back, you trying to sell us out again and sell
Barbecue.
resources. We're fighting back, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're the resistance. If that's what's happening in all the other countries where they literally went into the houses and kicked out their governmental president,
Mm-hmm.
kicked them out. So every country, so this is just one of the last ones because people had gotten so comfortable. But I'm gonna tell you what's really gonna help kick it off is because these people lost all these money in this
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin stuff. So now
Yeah.
when people look up and they don't have no 401ks and don't have no
Mm-hmm.
money, and now these people, like if you look on TikTok, you see it every day where they're saying, I go to the grocery store and I can spend get $300 and only get 5 bags, and I had to move back home because I can't afford to live and feed my family. That's making them angry. So you have to almost pull the money from people to get them, because that's actually what triggered all these other countries'
Mm-hmm.
resistances. Was I went there, I showed up at the bank, I couldn't get my money. I went here, I couldn't get the.
Yeah.
That's what kicked off all their resistances. So that's what's slowly coming here. It's just a little bit slower, but it's
Yeah.
speeding up. And so with that, because people don't understand that digital currency, they're trying to make it like a social digital currency, which
Exactly.
how you
Just like
get
in China. Yep.
IG because they don't like what you say, they can lock your money out. Like that's what Kanye was
Yep.
saying, whether you like them or don't like them. I'm not here
Mm-hmm.
to discuss that. But what it's still saying is if I don't like what you're saying, I can shut off your money. At the end of
Exactly.
the day, I don't agree with that. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
care if you like them or don't like them. That's not right
Mhm.
for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think about that a lot because even remember was it was it 2 January 6 ago when
Yeah,
the
yeah, because it
it
was
was
during the
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago. Mhm.
And I thought about that, and I thought about like even currently now how I talk to people like all over the planet, and like a lot of see, people don't understand that number one, everybody I always say in the channel, go travel, 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 because it's things ain't like what you think they are in other places of this planet. Number one, but I talk to people right now, and I talk to some people from Australia, and some of the stuff that they tell me that they're forced to do and have to do. You know what I mean? Like I can't even imagine. You know what I'm saying? That a country actually has that control and lockdown, because when I look at America, and you got all those people like the militias and all these people out here, you know what I'm saying, that are going completely against anything that goes
Mhm.
against their rights. You know what I'm saying? You talk about a revolution. That's a whole different revolution from a different mindset, of course, more so a physical revolution. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's on top of a spiritual revolution. So, like these ends, these pieces, these things come together. Good gracious. You know what I'm saying? It's
It's
it's got to
interesting you
be
mention other countries because it's two sides, right? You got some
yeah,
where, like what you're saying, um, the people are, forced to do stuff. And then you have the other side where, because I'm a traveler too, I'll be telling people, get you a passport and,
yeah, please.
but also I've noticed where I travel, it's hard for me to come back. I don't
Oh,
really want to come back here.
yes.
Right. So once you travel and you get out
Hmm.
of this country, you
Yes.
move slow. Number one, you see how less expensive it is in other countries.
Exactly.
And then the energy, like how here is so fast paced. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, like really traveling is probably, I got to probably plug up my laptop. It really like moved me to slowing down because in other countries they
Yeah.
just do not move like that. Maya, let me plug this up so I don't lose you up on over here right
Oh no,
this
you
second.
fine, you good. No,
Okay.
I'm just going. And it's interesting because even you saying that, because I was just recently in Panama, and even on a different regard, like when I went to the Panama City was kind of like any other major city. You got a lot of people in there, but I went out to like Cologne, right? And when I went to Cologne, it was interesting because everybody was melanated, but everybody was they it was such a mixture of people there, and it was like no beef at all. You know what I mean? It's like we the only people that got out a lot of these issues dealing with race and all this kind of crazy. These people, some people look like they're straight Indian. Like some people look straight African. Some people look, what I'm saying, and they just sitting around like chilling. The same thing, and a lot of other places of the planet. You know what I mean? So just piggybacking on that, please go out and travel because
Mm-hmm.
this planet, I'm telling you, this planet is not what you just see when you turn on this television and just see all the stuff United States. It's a lot different. You know what I mean? Some
Right.
places are great. Some places are
Right.
bad. And but it's
Mm-hmm.
all it's all you do have certain amenities here in America that other places don't have. But you can't. State peace of mind is priceless. How about that?
Facts. Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Peace of mind, not having to worry about going down the street as much and get cracked on the head by. I'm telling you, when I was in AT, even though I was little, I had my head on a swivel. I
Mm-hmm.
looked like everybody there, so what I'm saying. I wasn't sticking out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was just like I wasn't being in Brooklyn somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So don't
Right.
get it twisted, man. These places ain't like the boogeyman. Freddy Krueger. You know what I'm
No, and
saying?
that's an illusion. Like honestly, America is like the ghetto with the third, like a ghetto with a Gucci belt. Like
Yeah,
it's ghetto with a Gucci belt and a fake one at that now because now they money ain't back on nothing. So
that's a whole conversation people talk about. Like they don't even see that parts of America. That's true.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? Seriously, like people don't. They just see
That's
the
why when
city.
everybody come over here, they be like, "Oh my God, I thought this, y'all had all this and that." Like I talked to so many people from other countries, and when they got over here, they were like, they were bamboozled. It's like, honey,
Yeah.
why would you believe in what you saw on TV? We over here
hmm
struggling.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But as we said earlier, people saying it is all an illusion. You know what I'm saying? It's all
It
part of the
is.
matrix. It's all irreality. You know what I'm saying? And we just gotta. We've been saying all night, whether it's good, people on this channel, all these great guests, including yourself, they all say, come inside, learn who you really are, become the best
Mhm.
person you can. You know what I'm saying? And elevate yourself, because
Right.
once we all elevate, that's how we're going to get out all of this. I don't care whatever your race. Well, I don't care about if we elevate as humanity, we get out of this. And then once we as melanated beings get in our right state of mind, it all goes to a next
But
level.
honestly, we really are there. It's just that
Mhm.
everybody's not going to go. Like that's the
Yeah,
energy that I
I agree.
realized because we've moved so fast, kind of like what you were saying, from like kindergarten to graduate
Yeah.
school in a
Mhm.
probably a 2 year period of time.
Yeah, I agree.
We moved very quickly,
I agree.
and we're continuing to move. And so, um, we like the collective
Yeah,
has grown and
I agree.
continuing to move. And so the biggest thing is just to continue grow, continue elevate. And my thing, like the lesson or the message I got, I want to say the other day, is Spirit told me was sit back and like celebrate the moment because they've taught us, and that's probably part of the Mercury retrograde energy we're probably moving in, is we've always been like the next thing. What's the next thing? Whether it was people had to get married or go to school or do, we just never
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
celebrate. But
Their
like
thing.
even in this moment, celebrate how far you've moved, whether it was I've grown from this shadow work or I've did
hmm
this skill set or whatever it is that you've done emotionally, mentally, spiritually, to celebrate, sit back, have your glass of wine or water or apple juice or whatever you want to have and congratulate yourself because we don't really sit back and celebrate
Yes, on that.
and congratulate ourselves in our moments. We so hard on ourselves and we're
Yeah.
so going to the next moment that we're not appreciating this life of school. And then by the time you look here and you about to transition out of here, you
hmm
want to know what happened to time. But what happened to time is you wasn't sitting here enjoying the moment in time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes we need to just sit back and just be, right?
Oh, no, that is so true. I had a experience recently that changed my perspective so much more. And all it was literally sitting in the rainforest
Mm,
and walking for, you know, a couple of miles just in the rainforest and just realizing that this is what it's really about. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? This
Mhm.
connecting with nature and being getting connected to yourself as opposed to all this hustle and bustle of stress that they try to put in this, this matrix in the fake world.
But
Get
I
back to
recommend
self,
like
nature.
every week. People need to
Mhm.
take 2 hours. This is what I recommend. Like even in my
Mhm.
life coaching. Matter of fact, I sent it out to like my little group. I have like different people in my spiritual community that I send messages out to or whatever.
Mhm.
And I sent them and I said, you can do your self retreat or self me time. And you can just 2 hours a week, just pencil it in. And you can take like 15 minutes to meditate and then 10 minutes to journal and this many minutes for yoga and then this many minutes for your tea or whatever. But like block out for yourself 2 hours of me time that's undisturbed by your phones, undisturbed by
Mhm.
your kids, spouse, work, whatever. But you gotta every week, you gotta recharge.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
everybody has to recharge because not doing so, like if you are looking at the cup, if we're always pouring and we always giving, you pouring from an empty cup, you're supposed to get from the overflow.
Yeah.
Like yo, that's why they say your cup runneth over, right? What come out of the cup, the overflow is what you get. What's in the cup is for me. What runneth over is for y'all. And you have people wondering why you tired and you stressed and you
Mhm.
depressed and some of it ain't spirituality and astrology. Some of it is just regular basics.
Wear and tear.
Like sometimes we take stuff a little bit too deep, and it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes sit back, disconnect, and just you'll be amazed what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
take a little bit of just me time and disconnect. And I promise you that recharging every week is important.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm adding you to my list to the geniuses that I like to call them on my channel. That's how I it's my channel, so I can call you what I want. You know what I mean?
Well,
So I'm
bless
adding
you.
you
Big
on,
thanks, you thanks.
and
I humbly appreciate it.
yeah, and even though we went deep tonight, as you and I both know, we only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
And once in the future, you know what I'm saying, and once you come back, you know what I'm saying, we really gonna we'll just start going down that rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please follow the Polka Dot Rabbit. Follow, share this as well, and please follow the good sister here. Um, and that's really it for us tonight. You know what I'm
And
saying? Until
thank
we,
you. Thank y'all,
yeah,
everybody, for joining who was able to come
yeah,
in and out. I appreciate the love.
hmm,
I just want to say peace to the guys and goddesses. I want to say thank you to the host for inviting me on.
hmm,
He has a wonderful page and channel. And y'all just, take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Sending you all love and peace and blessings and prosperity. And, that's all we just have to do with each other. So give thanks.
yeah, indeed. And like the good Uncle Rod said, all tribes unite. And listen, this is another thing that I'm gonna say that I've started kind of just saying a motto that just feel is like if you win, we all win. Y'all hear that? If you win that and elevate and grow and become the best person you've been, and we collectively as humanity come together, then we all win. So keep on growing, become the best person you can be, and spread the word of love. You know what I'm saying, and information. That's that for me. Polka Dot Rabbit Podcast. Of course, if you haven't already, go to polka.rabbitpodcast.com, pick my book. You know what I'm saying. Besides that, we out.
See?
Peace and love. All right. Hold on one second, sis. Let me
Okay.
let me